Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishma Simi Murasa Ruspas Mordechai. Kol Menachos boys matzah. The mincha, all menachos, 90% of menachos must be without chametz. Can't let them, no leaven, no chametz. Chutz mechametz shabatoida. There are 40 breads that we bring with the Torah. 10 of them are chametz. Ushtei halechem, and the 2 breads of Shavuos that we spoke so much about in the last parak. Ushtei halechem, shem bois chametz. The 2 breads of Shavuos, chametz te'afeno, it says in the pasuk. It says, mamash, you should make them chametz. Those are chametz. Now, here's the question. There's 2 options. How do you make something chametz? You have to introduce the yeast, the sour, whatever it's called, the sa'ar. How do you make it? Water, whatever it is. But you have to make it chametz. The leavening agent. So, do you fill up a fully sarna flour and then add to that the leavening agent? Or do you put the leavening agent on the bottom and then you add up as much flour that could go into that vessel, which is going to be more or less than what you need? Okay, so here we have a machlokes. What goes in first? The flour, and you put the full isara in, and then you add the leavening agent, you guys called it? Or do you put the leavening agent in the bottom and you add flour? You fill up the 1 isarin of flour, or whatever it is. Let's say with the shtei halechem, it's 2 isarin for each bread. And then you take from that a little bit of the flour, you make a whole leavening agent, and you put it back in. That's not very good. To make a leavening agent on the spot, it's not going to be enough chametz. I need a serious chametz, like these women that make the sourdough. They have the leavening in their fridge. It's a whole Torah how to keep it all geschmack and sour. A starter. What you do is first you put the starter, the leavening agent, inside the bowl. Then you fill up the bowl with flour. This is a problem because when you add flour to water, the flour is going to go down. You're going to have less flour. So then now you're going to add more flour. And now it's going to be a mess. You're not going to have an isarin. It's going to be either less than isarin or more than isarin. You're never going to get to the right amount because I don't know how much flour gets absorbed into the water, etc., etc. Zabayati, you need to have exactly an isarin. Rabbi Preda mi Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Preda asks Rabbi Ami, the famous Rabbi Preda, who had a lot of patience. He learned with his Talmud over 400 times. How do you know that a mincha must be matzah, in other words, no chametz? Minalan. If it says mufurish in the Torah that you have to make it out of matzah, here, one of the psukim it says, soilas chalis matzois, urikike matzois. So what kind of question is this? How do you know? State, Perik Beis, Pasuk Dalet, open up and you'll see. Elama, chalis is your chalis, doesn't mean anything. The loik sivba, and if it doesn't say it mufurish, sivba. It also says it mufurish. Why? Because it says mufurish in the pasuk. Zois taris hamincha, a rule for every single mincha. But it says matzah is the yachas. It's mufurish in the pasuk matzahs. Omarlei mitzvah loikim ibayli. I'm not asking you if there's a mitzvah in kachim. If the Torah says it twice, then it's makiv. And if it's not kachim, how many times do you need to be makiv? Once. We made a mistake once. Tosis points out. The rest of the Torah only 1 time is makiv. In kachim you need 2 times. Ask the Gemara. It doesn't say twice. It says 1 time that you should make matzah. Like everybody, lakiv. Where do I see l'shana olav lakiv that you have to say twice in order to be makiv? And maybe it's not makiv. Maybe it's just a mitzvah. At the end of the day, the Gemara is going to say it's the word tia. It says tia. But in order to get to that word, the Gemara is going to go through all the different possibilities because perhaps the Torah is not very serious about this idea that it should be matzah. Maybe the Torah means something else. Tia means ma'akiv. It should be just so. That's the end of the sugya. But the Gemara wants to tell us why we needed this word tia. Yeah, maybe you could trade this way or that way. Omerlei mitzvah like mebayli. Kikom mebayli la'akiv. Omerlei la'akiv namiksiv. What do you mean? It says loisaf chametz. Period. It says in Torah, don't bake it chametz. Meaning yellow matzah should be matzah. Okay, so you have a great pasuk. You say loisaf chametz. That's our second pasuk. Ve'ima loisaf chametz ela siur. So pay attention over here. The sa'ar and the siur, two different things. Sa'ar is the leavening agent. Siur means that it's slightly chametz. It's on the way. It's very little. It's on the way to becoming chametz. And as machlokes, what that means exactly. So just to, it's hard to see. I'm going to show it to you anyway. I'm going to show it to you better than this. You see how the dough is very yellow over here? Stage number one is that the dough turns from yellow to white. Here, it just happened. It's hard to see, but it happened. I'm going to show it to you where you can really see it. And stage number two is called karne chagavim, where it has these cracks in it. If I could get to it. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, here it's starting to crack. Now, it's a little bit better now. I'll show you now. Here we go. So Yoshi did a cool thing here. He made a chagav, and he made it like the two antennas coming out. Okay. Hichsif ponel, you can see on the right. Now it's much better. Yellow and pale. When it starts like drying up and turning a color, that's stage one. Stage two is karne chagavim. So Rameir holds as follows. Stage one, according to Rameir, if you eat that on the right where it's pale, you get malchus. If you eat the stuff on the left, sedek, which is the next stage, you get karas. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't get anything for any of them. Stage one is zero. It's mamish. It's matzah. On the right is matzah. On the left is not a good thing to eat, but it's nothing. So says the Gemara as follows. Very simple. What you're talking about? Maybe the Torah is telling us that if you eat the siur, the partial, it's on the way of becoming chametz. Maybe the Torah is saying that it's okay. But what are you talking about? Siur deman. Either Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, if you're talking about the one on the right, that hichsef panel, it changed colors. But according to Reb Yehuda, it's nothing, it's zero. It's mamish matzah malyi. It's really, it's complete matzah. Maybe it's also in the Rabbana, but it's matzah. Either Reb Yehuda, the Reb Meir, if you're going to tell me that siur is going according to Reb Yehuda, it's karne chagavim, it's the cracks in the dough, according to Reb Meir, chametz malyu, according to Reb Meir, you get karas. For the left one with the cracks, you get karas. Either Meir or Reb Meir, so you're going to say, it goes according to Reb Meir, that's hichsef panel, according to Reb Yehuda, you said it's mamish matzah, but it's the pale one, according to Reb Meir, which you get malchus. You get malchus for it. Why do you get malchus? You get malchus because it's real chametz. Now it might be a different type of chametz, not a real chametz, not the usual chametz that you get cars for, but it's a type of chametz. So we just eliminated 3 out of the 4 possibilities. We thought one possibility is it's Remeir, it's Sichsef Poneh according to Rabbi Yehuda. The other possibility is Rabbi Yehuda, Karech Chagam according to Remeir. It's confusing words, but the idea is very simple if you look at the picture. Is it a change of color according to Rabbi Yehuda, or is it cracks according to Remeir? Or maybe it's the changing of color according to Remeir, because according to Remeir it's really bad, you get malchus. And that can't be because it's malchus, it means it's chametz. Hela de Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Isai. So we're talking about Rabbi Isai, we're talking about that there's cracks in the dough according to Rabbi Yehuda that says it's not, you don't get malchus even. So what? It's like chametz nuksha, it's its own new musug, and the pasuk is saying that if you eat such a thing, you're okay. Maybe that's what the pasuk is coming to tell us. Who told you that the pasuk is saying you should make sure it's matzah? Maybe the pasuk is saying that if you eat siur, what's siur, Rabbi? It's a new musug. Siur is not sa'ar. Siur means it's in the process of becoming chametz, and maybe that's okay. Another question: who told you that the pasuk is saying that you shouldn't eat chametz? The mincha shouldn't be chametz; it should be matzah. Maybe it's coming to say, let's have a chametz el chalot. You should make sure that you here. This is chalot, Rabbi Isai, also known as revucha, which the Gemara is going to say in a second. cooking it in water like a bagel, like a New York style bagel. Challah. Says the Gemara, that can't be. Chol meinu revucha. What does chol mean? Chol means what the Torah calls revucha. Here it says before in the pasuk, murbeches. So anytime the Torah wants you to do that, to make it chalot, the Torah tells you to murbeches, it should be in the water. And by us, by these two, by the lechem, the shtei lechem, and the Torah doesn't say revucha. But perhaps the chsiba revucha means revucha. And the fact that Torah doesn't say revucha doesn't mean that you can't do. Maybe if you want to do revucha, it's okay. And the Torah is saying if you did revucha, if you put it in water, it's okay. Another question. In other words, we're attacking this premise that if it says lo yisafa chametz, it must be matzah and it can't be chametz. Maybe the pasuk means something else. You know, you're not allowed to put chametz on the mizbeach. But maybe even making the mincha, just making it, you get a isser. But it doesn't do anything wrong there's nothing wrong with the actual, you get an isser, fine, you got an isser. For baking it, for making it. But it's still good. Who says that it's possible? Elemental, on the bottom line, how do we know that you need matzah, kidusanya, matzah, yochel mitzvah? I would think it's just a nice idea. Tamalomet, siyah, hakosef kava chayva. The Torah is telling you from the word siyah that it's ma'akiv, you have to do it as so. Reb Preida asks a question from Rabami. Menachos. It says in the Mishnah, you have to knead them, bipoishrim, in warm water. So these are two separate halachas that you have to knead. And how do you knead it? In warm water. Umeshamram, and you have to make sure shleich mitzu. In other words, you have to constantly move the dough, keep on kneading it so that it doesn't become chametz. If you keep on moving it, it won't become chametz. So how do you know this third halacha that you have to be meshamer, that you have to knead it until you bake it? And then on Pesach, you should learn from Pesach. The chsiv ushmartem samatzis. By matzah in Pesach it says ushmartem. There's a chiv to make sure it doesn't become chametz. Omerlei begufa ksiv matzah siyah. You don't have to learn from Pesach. Begufa ksiv, it says mefurish by the mincha matzah siyah. I take the word tziyah and I make it chayah. I take the sof, I make it a ches. You have to bring it alive. You have to be misasik with it. You have to constantly move it, so that it doesn't become chametz. So, I already used that word a minute ago, tziyah, to be ma'akiv. I asked you, how do I know I have to make a mincha, matzah, not chametz? Because it says tziyah, it's ma'akiv. So Gemara, matzah, he, instead of the word tziyah, it should say he. My siyah, shmas minotai, I can learn two things from it. Rabbi Yisrael, here goes the Agadato. Hamali Rabbanon the Rebbe Preida. Rabbanon tell Rebbe Preida, there's a knock on the door. Who's at the door? Rabbi Ezra bar Berei, the Rebbe Avtulas. His name is Rabbi Ezra. He's a grandson of Rebbe Avtulas. Duhu Asiri Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. He's a 10th generation from the famous Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, from the Agadah. Duhu Asiri Ezra and Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah is 10 generations direct, ben achar ben, from Ezra. Koya Bava. Kitzur has tremendous yichus. Says Gemara, Omar, my kuli hai. Why are you telling me all the yichus? Ibar Uryan hu yoy. If he's a Talmud Chacham, gewaldik. Ibar Uryan ubar avon yoy. And if he's a Talmud Chacham, and he's also the son of a Talmud Chacham, gewaldik. But why do I need to know 20 generations previous? In other words, each one has a milah. If his father's an Am Haaretz and he himself became a tremendous Talmud Chacham, wow! I'm so impressed. I want to meet a person like this. If his father's a Talmud Chacham, he's a Talmud Chacham, it has other milos. Each one has a milah. Vibar Avon, but if his father's a big Talmud Chacham, V'loi bar Uryan, but he himself is a nothing, a fire should consume it. Bar Uryanu, don't worry about it. No, he himself is a big Talmud Chacham. No, I want to meet him. Tell him to come inside. Repray the notices according to this pshat, one pshat. He notices that Rabbi Ezra is in a bad mood. He wasn't machshav his yichos. So he told him something about yichos. Repray that tells him, Amart Lashem Adonai Oto. You're my master. Tivasi balalecha. But Rashi says, referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying it. That's why I think you could even say Hashem's name here. Hashem is saying this. But the Gemara Darshans, Amar Knesset Yisrael, Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rebbeinu Shalom. Hachzili Toivish Ticha Ba'olam. The Knesset Yisrael tells Rebbeinu Shalom, I want you to give me credit, so to speak, that I told the world about you. I made you known in the world. Adoini Ata. Omar Lo. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, Tivasi balalecha. I'm not going to give you credit for this. Any machzik toivel Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov shoydi uni tchila ba'olam. They're the first ones to be machzik toivel. Shenemar l'gdoshim asher ba'aretz heimo v'adir kol chavtzi bam. I'm only grateful to those. In other words, yichus counts. B'schus avos. We say schus avos. Schus avos means b'schus Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov, that they understood me first. They brought my name to the world first. Kivin the shamei. So Rabbi Ezra heard the word va'adirei kol chavtzi bam. Adir is the lashon of mighty. Kivin the shamei the kama adir pasach va'amar. So Rabbi Ezra heard this word adir. He said yavei adir v'yifrei la'adirim adirim ba'adirim. So we're going to have a bunch of these lines. If we look at it by ourselves, what does it mean? Yavei adir. Yeah, it's coming up also. Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah. Yavei adir. V'yifrei la'adirim me adirim ba'adirim. 4 words. Yavei adir. Adir is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'chsiv adir b'amorim Hashem. V'yifrei la'adirim eli Yisrael. This is Klal Yisrael. Shenema va'adiri kol chavtzi bam. Me adirim elu ha-mitzrim. Adirim are the mitzrim. D'chsiv salu kaiferes b'mayim adirim. Yavei yodid. Oh, another one. So do we say it? Talk about b'mayim adirim. Ba'adirim elu mayim. Shenemar mekoylos mayim rabim adirim mishbur yom. So the water is also called, but not in that passage. Not talk about b'mayim adirim. Yavei yedid ben yedid. V'yivnei yedid li yedid. B'chalkesh yedid. V'skaper bo yedidim. Also like a riddle. It's a riddle. Yavei yedid zeshlem hamelech. It's hard to. This one is harder than the other ones, because you wouldn't know right away. Yedid, my beloved, my friend, so to speak. It's Shlomo HaMelech. L'chsiv vayishlach biyad nosan hanavi v'ikra shmoi Yedid yo b'avur Hashem. Daf nun gimel and beis. You know what? Let's just do the sponsors. Adar Global Happy Clients all year, not just this month. L'shadach.com. Please read a shidduch today. Ben Yedid ze Avram. D'chsiv ben liyedidi b'veisi. V'yivne Yedid ze beis. Me liyedidi b'veisi. V'yivne Yedid ze beis hamikdash. And what is the Shlomo HaMelech going to build? The beis hamikdash. D'chsiv ma Yedidis mishkanesecha. Liyedid 4. Who you building the beis hamikdash for? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. D'chsiv ashir no liyedidi. B'chalgesh Yedid. The Binyamin, we learned it a number of times that the Mizbeach, Binyamin is very upset. A little teeny part of the Mizbeach is on his chelik over there. That's why there's no base on that side. We could also sing this one if we want, but it's okay, fine. Boy, Yedidim Eli Yisrael. By the way, so you talk to Hashem as he did. You tell him what's going on and what you need. Next, Yavei Toiv. This is easy to figure out yourself. Yavei Toiv, v'yikabel Toiv. He's going to receive the good. What's the good? The Torah. Who received the Torah? Moshe. Mi Toiv from who? From HaKadosh Baruch Hu. La Toivim for who? So this one is easy. Yavei Toiv ze Moshe. D'chsiv atero yiseki Toivu. But it's Penei v'chulu. V'yikabel Toiv ze Torah. D'chsiv ki lekach Toiv nosati lochem. Yesterday we said ki lekach. There's no time now. Mi Toiv ze HaKadosh Baruch Hu. D'chsiv Toiv Hashem la Toiv. La Toivim for who? Eli Yisrael. D'chsiv veitiv Hashem la Toiv. Yavei ze v'yikabel zois mizeh la'amzu. This is also easy. Yavei ze ze Moshe. Moshe will come. D'chsiv ze Moshe haish. V'yikabel zois zoy Torah. D'chsiv v'zois Torah ze Moshe. Mizeh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he takes the Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who does he give it to? The Chsiv Keli V'Amveyu. La'amzu Eli Yisrael Shenemar Amzu Konisi. Omer Yitzchak. B'shosh Shachar Beis Hamikdash B'tzar HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Avram Shoy Oymid B'Beis Hamikdash. Omer Loi, Med Liyedidi B'Beisi. What are you doing here? Omer Loi Aliske Bonei Basi. I came to save my children, my grandchildren. Omer Loi, Bonecha Chatu V'Galu. It's too late. They sinned and I had to send them out of here, ship them out to Galus. Omer Loi Shema B'Shoy Chatu, just like he did with Zdaim. He's trying to be Melamed Schus. Maybe they sinned b'shoyig. Omar loy asoysam zimasa. No, it was b'mezid. Omar lo Yishem miyudim chatu. Maybe it was only a small amount of yidden. Omar lo harabim. Hoy lecha liskor bris mila. Here, Rebbeinu Shalom. Maybe you forgot the all mekayim bris mila. Okay, that's coming from the side. Hoy lecha liskor bris mila. Omar lo b'sar kodesh yavrim aloyich. Omar lo Yishem. Why don't you wait a little bit? That also, this is something I can understand. Wait a little bit. Give them some time, patience. The more they have simcha, the more they're bad. With the simcha, it's worse and worse. So Avraham Avinu puts his hands on his head and starts crying. What? My sons are never going to get out of this. The Klal Yisrael is like an olive. At the end, that's where it's good. So I looked it up. I probably looked it up once before also because I remember something about this. I couldn't believe it. When you plant an olive tree, when are you going to get produce? How long is it going to take you to get a good shmaka olive? About 20 years. 20 years. That's what it says on today, not. They say about, charov, the boxer tree, it takes 70. ChatGPT, first 5 years, 0. Then comes something that not very edible, 15, 20 years. He says, Av Yisrael, Achisim B'Soifon. So wait, yes. At the end of the day, Klal Yisrael is going to do tshuva. Klal Yisrael is going to do tshuva at the end. Where are we holding? We got a few minutes. No, I'm just looking at the clock. The tremendous, it says in this Gemara, tumult. I wonder what it says in the art scroll. How does the art scroll touch this word? You have an English, somebody? It's I don't know if tumult is tumult. Yeah? It's more like a Yiddish word. It's confusing, like a mamisha, balagan. The branches will break. The word hamula means words. The branches of Klal Yisrael weakened because of the meraglim. They spoke a big thing. They said that the enemy is stronger than us. Don't read it as the word mimenu could be. It's written the same way, but there's two ways to understand it. Mimenu means we. Elo mimenu, he. They're stronger than him. Kaviyachol shafilu balabais and yachol oitzi kelo misham. Maskiv lo rebchia berebchinino hayla kol amula gdoila. If you tell me the word amula means words, the words of the meraglim, the kol mila mebayle. So it should have said mila, not hamula. Elo amar lo yakosh baruch lavram kol chashamati v'chamalti aleim. I accept your argument, and I'm going to have rachmanis on Klal Yisrael. Instead of hamila, it's chemla. Take the hey and make it a ches. Chamalti, it's a lotion of rachmanis. There's going to be bavel, yavim, paras, and edoim. We're living in historic times of Mashiach. We're going to see nisim gluyim. We see already. We want to see the finalness, but we see nisim every day. Each one, the paras is going to be like bavel, yavim, paras, edoim together. But now, because of the Rahman, it's not going to be 4 times 4, it's each one on their own. They should be consecutive, one after another. They're all happening together. In other words, we're saving a lot of time here. Bavel is happening over there, Paras is over there, but they're happening at the same time, and Mela Klal Yisrael will have less tsar. Omer B'Shom Levi, Lama Nimshal Yisrael Zayis, Lo Melech, Mazayis Ein Olav Noishrim, Lo Yisacham Lo Yisachsham, Av Yisrael Ein Lam B'Teiloi Lames. They'll never. There's always leaves. There's always Klal Yisrael. Lo B'Olam Hazeh V'Lo B'Olam Haba. V'Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lama Nimshal Yisrael Zayis, Lo Melech, Mazayis Ein Moitzi Shamnoi Elo Yidei Ksisa. Av Yisrael in Chayzim Mutov Elo Yidei Surim. Rabbi said it's a very powerful thing. We're in Galus now because that's the only language we understand. In order for us to do tshuva, we have to go through Yisurim. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Psuris Toivus.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDOP.com.